What's up, everybody? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button to the Hoops Tonight YouTube channel, and then follow me on social media on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter so you guys don't miss any of our content over the course of this season. All right, let's talk some basketball. So I want to hit on LeBron James again because this is ridiculous. Because once again, huge game, single elimination, big-time playoff vibes, three other legit superstars in their prime on the floor. And I thought LeBron was the best player. And once again, it came down to that chess match in the half court, and LeBron just started attacking Yusuf Nurkic in pick and roll, getting downhill and finishing at the rim. Once again, he's just trusting his pull-up jump shot in these big moments. He took a big transition three there in the middle of the fourth quarter. He took a mid-range pull-up jump shot in pick and roll down the stretch in crunch time. And that to me is just such a huge indicator of a trend that was not the case last year, which is crunch time offense for the Lakers when LeBron can actually trust his jump shot and just in general is more confident and capable creating shots. It just makes the Lakers a more dynamic team. That was a specific thing they struggled with a lot last year. I think that's encouraging. But the big thing that stood out to me from LeBron in this game was the job he did defensively. He had 5 steals, which is blowing plays up as a low man. And again, like we talk about this position archetype all the time, right? The Aaron Gordon archetype with like guys like DeAndre Hunter and Rui Hachimura and Lauri Markkanen's a big version of that, right? There's a bunch of these guys around the league, these big forwards, and we kind of don't remember the stars when we talk about that. And like LeBron's the star version of that. And so as a role player, meaning like within his role of the defense as the low man, he can be really impactful there. And he was excellent on the defensive end in this game. I think in general, he really wants to win this tournament. I think he'd like to be the guy who wins the first NBA Cup. I think it's good for the NBA Cup because if this NBA Cup is ever going to become what the league wants it to be, what Adam Silver wants it to be, it needs to be something the players really want to win. And LeBron is one of the best competitors of this era. And I think it's great to see guys like him, guys like Giannis who brought it today, guys like Dame who brought it, Tyrese Halliburton. You want the establishment superstars of the league to want to win this award. And I think that was a really strong indicator. But just, again, I've said to everybody on this show so many times this year that I was not really overly concerned about the Lakers' regular season issues because they were down most of their forwards. Hey, look at how much more athletic they look today with all their forwards. They had 20-something offensive rebounds, right? And they were significantly better defensively. And what did I say? I said the encouraging thing to me is despite all of that, LeBron looks better than he did at any point last season. I genuinely believe that. And to me, that's a huge indicator of a potential upside for this team in the big picture. Shout out to LeBron. It's ridiculous now that in December of 2023, we are still watching him put forward these types of performances with these kinds of stakes. Austin Reaves. So I did a mailbag question about this the other day, and a lot of, Austin had some struggles this year. And but by the way, he's had some struggles this year. It's really that simple. He's earned some of the criticism that's been directed to him this year. My stance the entire time has been for 50 plus games in all high leverage situations, he was awesome. So let's not overreact to a small sample size of pointless regular season games where he plays poorly, at least relative, because the reality is he hasn't been that bad, but poorly relative to what he used to be. And in a situation where the Lakers were down most of their wing athleticism, which made everybody's job a lot harder. And so all I kept saying was just stick with them. And here we are once again, big game, playoff vibes, another 20-point game from Austin Reaves, hits the dagger pull-up three on the right wing. His offensive burst in the third quarter flat out saved them from that Suns run that damn near took the game over there to start the third quarter. Austin's incredible. And it bums me out, honestly, that fans have such a short memory of all the things he's done to contribute to winning to this team in big game situations and how that just gets glossed over. It's just, we get a little too much on the what have you done for me lately side of things. One last note on the Austin Reaves thing before we moved on. I've had a lot of people ask, Jason, why don't you like D'Angelo Russell? Why are you so insistent on the Lakers trading D'Angelo Russell? It has nothing to do with D'Angelo Russell. As a person, I don't dislike him. Even as a player, I don't dislike him. I would even argue if you had to give the keys to the offense to one player to kind of run the show in that specific job, D'Lo's better than Austin. But in so many other areas of the game, Austin is better, and Austin can do a lot of what D'Lo does. And so because of that, and the long-term roster control under the new deal that he's on, it just makes more sense. And then this is the big problem. Every Lakers fan was frustrated with Darvin Ham going back to Taurean Prince down the stretch of this game. And I would tell you, if Austin's your 1 and LeBron's your 4 and your 5, there aren't really good answers for that 2 and 3. Like, if I had to choose right now, I'd probably go Max Christie and Rui Hachimura. But, like, Rui's not a great screen navigator. KD's probably going to run him off screens, and you're going to end up in some situations where you're going to have to switch, which could cause cross matches on the other side that could cause problems. Not sure that's a great fit. Max is super young. Cam Reddish and Jared Vanderbilt have offensive limitations. Taurean Prince is not a great athlete. All the answers there are limited. And so when you have a situation where Austin, LeBron, and AD make perfect sense, but the 2 and the 3, it's like, I don't know. Who do you play? And then we have to leave D'Lo on the bench because we can't play him alongside Austin. We crater defensively and on the glass. Then Rui Hachimura as just another big forward that's kind of more or less the same position as LeBron, he's on the bench. That's the problem. Your 5 best players are Austin, D'Lo, Rui, LeBron, AD. To start games and to close games, you can only play 3 of them. So it has nothing to do with me disliking D'Angelo Russell. It has nothing to do with any sort of like narrative-based attack of D'Angelo Russell. It is a simple matter of roster balance. I believe Austin's better. I know some of you guys disagree. I feel very strongly that Austin's a better player, and I think the playoffs last year clearly demonstrated that as he was reliably in the rotation, and D'Angelo Russell was very matchup dependent and got played off the floor against Denver, right? But I believe Austin's better. So you kind of have to pick one of them. And then you've got non-perfect answers for the 2 and the 3. And so in my opinion, it's imperative for the Lakers to convert those 2 contracts, Rui and D'Lo, if the right trade materializes, for a starter caliber 2 or 3 that answers the questions that Max Christie, Cam Reddish, Jared Vanderbilt, Taurean Prince, and Rui Hachimura can't perfectly answer. It's really that simple to me. If you could just, even if you could keep Rui and just turn D'Angelo Russell into a higher level 3-and-D wing, even if you have to attach a pick to him, now it makes more sense because that person becomes one of your top 5 players, right? You're trading D'Angelo Russell, one of your top 5 players, for a different top 5 player. But now of those top 5 players, at least 4 of them are obvious answers to your starting and closing lineups. And it just answers those questions for you. Then the question becomes, do you go after something like, is Taurean Prince better at the 2? Is it Max Christie at the 2? Well, what about Cam Reddish? You can figure that part out. One question mark is a little easier to deal with than 2 gaping question marks that you just don't know what to do with those positions. And like this game was very revealing to me about the Lakers on 2 levels. One, within the context of the regular season, it is so important for them to have their high motor athletes. They look so much better with Cam Reddish, with Jared Vanderbilt, with Rui Hachimura available. Those guys were not available on that last road trip. When they got ran off the floor by the Thunder and they got ran off the floor by the Sixers, those dudes weren't playing. It was a less athletic version of this team. So within the context of the regular season, those guys are super important. But the second piece that became very clear to me tonight is that the Lakers need clear answers to the 2 and the 3, and they don't have that. There is a roster imbalance here. D'Angelo Russell and Rui Hachimura cannot play at the end of games, and you're catering to D'Angelo Russell right now by allowing him to start and bringing Austin off the bench. But in the big picture, it doesn't make sense to have that much of your salary cap resources delegated to 2 players that can't share the floor together. And so that I want to be clear because a lot of people, I understand, and this is my fault. I have not done a good enough job of making this point clear. I do not dislike D'Angelo Russell. I just simply think Austin's better, and that for the sake of this team, if you want this team to reach their ceiling, you need to make sure that as much of your top end talent as possible is playable together. And you hamper yourself when you maintain a roster imbalance like this, where now it's like, man, D'Angelo Russell, our damn near $20 million player, is sitting on the bench, and we're looking for a guy to play the 2 or the 3, and D'Lo's just not even being considered. No, it's just not going to be D'Lo. Because you need athleticism and defense from those positions. Because those are the 2 guys guarding Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. See what I mean? It's unfortunate with the way competitive sports work in the sense that D'Lo does sort of become a target. And it's not fair because D'Lo's having a great season. I looked it up this morning. D'Lo has been the second best pick and roll ball handler in the league this year, minimum 300 possessions. Like I said, I genuinely believe if you had to hand the keys of an offense to somebody, D'Lo's a better player there for that specific job. But down the stretch of games, it becomes LeBron's team. And it's more important to have a great second side creator who's great off the ball, who's a better defensive player. You go with Austin. That's why Darvin Ham keeps closing with Austin in those situations. Hopefully that clarifies that a little bit.